Step back and look at where your food comes from. Do you know your farmer? Think of food as medicine. Would you like to know where it came from and how it was raised, grown, and processed? Would that affect what you ate? On March 13, 2017, the Marin County Board of Supervisors passed Ordinance 3666. This ordinance allows the slaughter of up to 20,000 animals on local farms, properties 5 acres or larger in Nicasio and Greater West Marin. Marin County has 160,000 acres of agricultural land. 95% of this is used for seasonal grazing of dairy, cattle, and sheep. This land composes a $50 million a year industry. To protect this industry from the competition of distant farms, Marin County Supervisor Dennis Rodoni proposed a revision of the Marin County Code to the Board of Supervisors. This modification abolished the pre-existing law that prohibited on-farm slaughter in Marin. There are 15,000 cattle and 7,000 sheep in Marin. 600 of those cattle and 600 of those sheep will be killed by predators. Some animal experts theorize that the addition of on-farm slaughter will increase the number of predators.
When you're dealing with dumping carcasses and remains, that's going to attract a lot of predators because they smell that. They'll want to come down. So suddenly now you've got potentially mountain lions and bobcats and foxes all congregating where that smell of death is right there.
At the start of this water year, September of 2016, the United States Drought Monitor reported that the entire state of California was in drought. According to the United States Geological Survey, California livestock uses 200 million gallons of water per day.
The United Nations says that the biggest impact to climate change is meat consumption and the dairy and meat industry. Why? Because for every pound of food that it produces, you're using some exponentially higher amount of water than it is to grow veggies. So basically, it's a very inefficient system. The degradation of the natural lands here could be much better served if we were to migrate towards a more agricultural use. So when I see the Board of Supervisors actually taking it upon themselves to expand the bill and cover things like animals like rabbits, we're sliding in the wrong direction. We should be taking a more progressive stance that this is an opportunity for our county to say, you know, we're in a critical situation with our water right now, and we want to curtail the meat consumption that goes along with the slaughter facilities.
One-third of Marin ranchers reported that the process of USDA certification was an obstacle in marketing their meat.
Through agricultural roundtables, they discovered that there was a need to have a mobile slaughter facility, and that need was to provide a processing on site or on a neighbor's site that could process the local animals and get them to local markets. And the key there is, as far as being sustainable and economically viable, all ranchers and farmers need to be able to market their products locally, and it's an added value to them for doing that because you get identified as being organic, locally grown, grass-fed, all those things which bring them a better return on their investment.
The ordinance Rodoni proposed would give USDA certification to ranches that used regulated mobile slaughter units. This was labeled by Rodoni's staff report, a pragmatic compromise that will allow animal slaughter in limited forms that reflect the needs of Marin's agricultural producers.
But right now, the commission felt, and I agreed with them, and most of the farming community agreed with them, that a slaughter facility that could come in and give you a USDA stamp on your product was the best way to go. And remember, the slaughter facility as identified in our ordinance, is a totally self-contained facility that brings its own water, it captures its own waste, and it takes it away with it when it goes. And so it's a very environmentally sound practice. And out of that, you get a product that's sellable to restaurants, farmers markets, local grocery stores, because you have a USDA stamp and there's actually an inspector or a veterinary on site when the slaughtering is being done.
Marin County provides refuge and resources for dozens of animals and hundreds of plants. Ranching land removes carbon from the air and stores it in the soil, where it's harmless to the atmosphere and beneficial to plants. The San Francisco Chronicle reports that sound ranching practices could capture the carbon emissions of 6 million cars.
We are in landmass, we are 1/3 of the county. And we are valued not only as a food-producing area, but also as an open space area and an environmentally beneficial area. For instance, we are a carbon sink. We are a way to offset, all the CO2 that is produced by, vehicles and all the greenhouse gases.
Ranchers claim that transporting livestock a dozen miles or farther to slaughterhouses is inhumane and expensive. On-farm slaughter would be comfortable for the animals and affordable for the ranchers.
Actually, on-farm slaughter is a progressive idea. Once the rancher relinquishes the animal, they don't have any control over the feedlot, they don't have any control over the slaughter facility. But if you have on-farm slaughter, you're there. You can see how it's done. You can make sure that it's done properly. Unfortunately, our culture is a user kind of culture, and if this land was not used for agriculture, it would be used for something else, like houses.
I think ranchers also contribute to a part of life that can't be quantified, but when you drive out to West Marin and you see green hills and lots of cows and open space, we must be doing something right. We provide a view shed that is very hard for the average person to understand the value of until they lose it.
Opponents of Ordinance 3666 say it promotes unsustainable use of water, slaughtering animals. Supporters of Ordinance 3666 say it promotes sustainable use of land, in ranches.